They say that sleep paralysis is just your mind playing tricks on you. A glitch in the system where your brain wakes up, but your body remains locked in sleep. The medical explanation is neat, clean, safe. But what they don't tell you is what happens when the thing, staring at you from the corner of your room, knows things it shouldn't know. Things about why Mavid and 3 months ago, my sister Sarah died in a car accident. What I'm about to tell you happened exactly 1 week after he. It started on a Tuesday night. I'd been having trouble sleeping since the funeral. You know how it is. Grief has a way of rewiring your brain, making rest feel like a luxury you don't deserve. I remember falling asleep around 2 a.m., exhausted from another day of pretending I was okay. But sometime in those dark hours before dawn, I woke up. At least I thought I woke up. I could see my bedroom clearly, the digital clock glowing 3:33 a.m., the streetlight casting familiar shadows through my blinds. Everything was exactly as it should be, except for one thing. I couldn't move. My arms felt like they were made of concrete. My legs might as well have been buried under 1,000 pounds of sand. Even my eyelids seemed frozen wide open, forcing me to stare straight ahead at my bedroom door. And that's when I saw her. Sarah stood in the doorway, exactly as she'd looked the day she died. Same jeans, same pink sweater she'd been wearing when they found her. Her dark hair fell across her shoulders just like it always had, but something was wrong with her face. Her eyes, they weren't quite right. Too wide. Too knowing. She took a step into my room, and I tried to scream, tried to call out to her, but no sound came. My throat was locked tight, just like the rest of me. "David," she said, her voice exactly as I remembered it, warm and familiar. "David, I need to tell you something." She moved closer to my bed, her feet making no sound on the hardwood floor. "You're going to die, David. Soon." The words hit me like ice water. I wanted to shake my head, to tell her she was wrong, to ask her what she meant. But I was trapped in my own body, a prisoner watching this impossible scene unfold. 3 days, she continued, now standing at the foot of my bed. Maybe 4. It's hard to see exactly when from where I am, but it's coming. And then, just like that, she was gone. The paralysis broke like someone had cut invisible chains, and I bolted upright, gasping. I told myself it was just a dream. A manifestation of grief and guilt rolled into one terrifying nightmare. That's what sleep paralysis does, right? It creates these vivid, waking dreams that feel absolutely real. I spent the next day researching everything I could about sleep paralysis. The science was reassuring. Hallucinations during paralysis episodes are incredibly common. The brain, caught between sleep and waking, creates these false sensations. Shadow people, demons, deceased relatives, it's all just neural misfiring. I felt better. The logical part of my brain had wrestled control back from whatever primal fear had gripped me in those early morning hours. But as night approached, I found myself dreading bedtime in a way. I hadn't since I was a child, afraid of monsters under the bed. The second episode happened exactly 24 hours later. Same time, 3:33 a.m. Same paralyzing grip holding me motionless in my bed. But this time, Sarah didn't stay in the doorway. She walked directly to the side of my bed and sat down on the edge of the mattress. I could feel the slight depression where her weight settled, could smell the faint scent of her perfume, something floral that she'd worn since high school. You didn't listen, she said, her voice carrying a note of sadness. I thought you might try to change things, find a way to avoid it. She reached out and touched my face with fingers that felt cold as winter morning. I could feel it, actually feel her touch, which should have been impossible in a hallucination. It's a car, David, just like me. Blue sedan, license plate starting with K27. It's going to run. A red light at the intersection of 5th and Main. The specificity of the details sent chills down my spine. In dreams, especially false ones caused by sleep paralysis, details are usually vague, shifting. That this was precise, clinical. Tomorrow at 4:17 p.m., she continued. You'll be coming home from work, taking your usual route. The light will be green for you, and you won't see it coming until it's too late. She leaned closer, her face inches from mine. But now you know. Now you can choose a different path. Again she vanished, and again I woke up gasping. I called in sick to work the next day. If there was even a 1% chance that what I'd experienced wasn't just my grief-stricken mind playing tricks on me, I wasn't going to take that route home. I spent the day pacing my apartment, alternating between rational skepticism and growing dread. At 4:17 p.m., I found myself standing at my window, looking down at the street below. I live 6 blocks from the intersection of 5th and Main. At exactly 4:17, I heard it. The screech of brakes, the sickening crunch of metal against metal. Even from 6 blocks away, I could hear the sirens that followed minutes later. My hands were shaking. 2-car collision at 5th and Main. Blue sedan ran red light, striking a pickup truck. Driver of sedan hospitalized with serious injuries. License plate K7G4422. Just like Sarah had said, the pickup truck driver was fine. Shaken up but fine. If I had been driving my usual route in my small Honda Civic, I sank into my couch, staring at the screen. Either I had just experienced the most impossibly specific coincidence in human history, or my dead sister had just saved my life. That night, I didn't want to sleep. I stayed up until nearly dawn, drinking coffee and pacing. But eventually, exhaustion won, and I collapsed into bed around 5 a.m. This is the last warning I can give you, David. After tonight, the connection will be too weak. I won't be able to reach you anymore. She leaned down and kissed my forehead, her lips feeling like winter frost. Remember her name. Elena, remember. And when you meet her, run. Don't look back to understand why. Just run. Narrator. I met Elena on a Tuesday afternoon at the coffee shop downtown. She was everything Sarah had described: beautiful, kind, with dark eyes that seemed to understand my pain without me having to explain it. When she introduced herself, my blood ran cold. "Hi," she said, extending a perfectly manicured hand. "I'm Elena." I stared at her for a long moment, remembering my sister's warning. Every instinct told me to turn around and walk away, but she was so beautiful, so genuinely sympathetic about my loss when I mentioned Sarah's death. It would have been so easy to ignore the warning, to convince myself that it was all just coincidence. Visits had been nothing more than elaborate grief hallucinations. But I'd learned to trust my sister's warnings. Suddenly remembered an important left the coffee shop. I never went back to that part of town again. 2 weeks later, Elena's picture appeared in the obituaries. Apparent suicide, the paper said, but I noticed the small article. Buried on page 6 that same day, about a Hartwell Industries whistleblower who had been found dead in his apartment, also an apparent suicide. That's when I knew Sarah had been right about everything. I don't have sleep paralysis anymore. Haven't had an episode since that final warning 6 months ago. Sometimes I miss them. Believe it or not, miss seeing Sarah, knowing that some part of her was still looking out for me. But I'm alive. Alive because my sister found a way to reach across the veil between life and death to protect me. 3 saved me from threads of fate that would have ended with my death. The sleep paralysis episodes stopped. But sometimes, late at night when the wind is just right, I swear I can still hear her voice on the breeze. Stay safe, David. Stay safe. And I try my best to do exactly that. Final. Slower say sleep paralysis is just your mind playing tricks on you. A glitch in the system where your brain wakes up, but your body remains locked in sleep. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes the people we've lost find ways to use those points